Well, we've talked about this situation for the Kansas City Chiefs a few times now, and I think it's only going to get worse as Chris Jones continues to go on Twitter. He stated, I think it was earlier today, being Wednesday, or maybe it was yesterday on Tuesday, that he could sit out until week 8. Somebody tweeted back at him, said that's going to be a hefty tab, and he goes, "I can afford it." Right now, he's over $1 million in fines, depending
He can afford
on
it.
how long he sits out. That's $1.176 million in fines per week, as it's $50,000 per day. Um,
He can afford it.
Now, and it will be more, especially with missing games as well. He can't afford it, as he says. The Chiefs have given themselves no leverage by not bringing in any free agents or drafting highly in the draft when it came up at that position and being able to cover in case something like this were to happen. And we should have known it was happening because he held out the last time also. And the Katz brothers, his agency group, isn't doing a good job to help their case as he is their meal ticket. Because they represent literally no one else. It is a bunch of fringe NFL players that bring them no money.
Well,
Talking about
you know what else isn't helping the whole goddamn situation is fans and media accounts on Twitter
bad.
trying to interact with Chris Jones. I think they're only making it worse for the team. We know we can't necessarily take everything that Chris Jones says on Twitter seriously, and hounding him, telling him to sign, and continuously just like being in his DMs and adding him and doing all this bullshit. It's not making the situation any easier for Chris Jones. It's not going to get him to sign any quicker. It's not going to help the Chiefs pay him the money that he wants. It's literally just probably annoying the shit out of Chris Jones.
As it should.
That's why he just stays trolling.
Easiest
But
thing to do.
I was kind of thinking about this a little bit earlier today. I feel like they have an idea what they want to do. They're just kind of waiting on some things. The biggest thing is Chris Jones wants to be at least the top two highest defensive players in the league. Guess what other player is still holding out? Joey Bosa. So I think they may be waiting for that contract to drop, and then they're going to go ahead and up it from there.
Good old
Smash
Bowie
it very similar.
Josa.
I've seen that theory dropped a couple of times, and while I think it might play a role, it's still a totally different position. It is an edge versus an interior, where the money on the outside has never really translated to what happens on the inside, regardless of how good the interior player is. The market was reset with Quinnen Williams, and I think that's probably where it's going to stick. I think it's just the Katz brothers shooting themselves and their client's foot with every single thing that they are or are not doing. And I think one of the worst things that's happening came out earlier today on Wednesday was Andy Reid hitting the podium and in a disgruntled tone, which Andy Reid is a player's coach. He covers for his players at every turn that he possibly can. And in a disgruntled tone, stating that there has been absolutely no communication and giving off every figure that he is completely upset with this situation. That is not something that we ever see from Andy Reid. And given we're now seeing this, there's no
He's probably
communication.
tired of
They're
fucking
not
talking about it
close.
too, man. Like,
And I would understand that, but also in saying that there has been no communication means that there is something majorly lacking with Chris Jones' agents.
Do you think he means it like that, or do you think he means it from the last time he gave an update on everything? Like he still said he expects Chris here, or he's just tired of answering to that question over and over again. So he's like, hey, no communication since the last time I said anything.
He also stated in there that they don't know when to expect Chris Jones to show up. So they are holding out hope. Patrick Mahomes also stated that he is holding out hope that Chris Jones will show up for game 1, but there's been no communication on all fronts. Maybe that maybe there's a slight chance that that means that there's been no communication from the last time that they spoke about, so there's no change. But from the way that the tone, body language, and verbiage used, it sounds like there's been no communication, and they now no longer know when to expect Chris Jones to show up, which is not good for whatever the plans are for the season, and it's not good for Chris Jones in his money making opportunities.
Listen, here's what I'm expecting. We're gonna go back to a mid-20s ranked defense. We're not going to get any pressures. We're not going to have a great run defense. Pat Mahomes is going to have to win most of the games by winning a shootout. We have the talent on the offensive side of the ball to do so. I think we are still contenders without Chris Jones. We're just not as much of a lock if he's in the lineup. So I'm done worrying about it. I haven't, taken to Twitter to reach out to Chris Jones, and I still won't. There's no point in doing it. There's no point in fretting over it. Whatever happens is going to happen.
Now, I have a question for you guys. Do you think we're going to
Fuck
talk
off.
about the Chris Jones contract situation longer on more episodes, or the DeAndre Hopkins contract situation on more episodes?
I think that will probably be it for Chris Jones until we get like actual.
We haven't talked about D Hop for a
confirmed.
minute, bro.
Yeah,
But it
we
was
did
on
cover
episode
him
after
for
episode after episode.
4 or 5 episodes.
Schm episode.
But I think that might be it for Chris Jones until we actually get some confirmed information. I don't think Andy Reid or any of the players will really comment like they have today, and unless he no shows for games and actually no shows for games, and the defense looks bad. That's when coaches and players are going to start stepping in and actually have to answer for anything that's happening on those questions and playing front. But I really don't expect to be talking about his contract situation, because if that starts happening, if we're losing games and it's 100% on the defense, the Chiefs are going to step in and get something done.